Happy podcast day, Falcon Paladin.
Happy podcast to you as well, Samacron. Good to be here. Good to be talking about some more Warhammer and anime and stuff.
It's true. I do foresee that's what we will be talking about.
Yes, quite an easy prediction, I would say.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Oh, we have had some serious wind blow through. I went for a bike ride yesterday, and I also went for one the day before, and there were like 3 trees down across the path. You know,
Holy smoke, like big trees?
no, I would say small to medium, right? Like not huge.
Okay, but still, yeah.
Yeah. 3 trees
Serious
broke
stuff.
down. Lots of branches and stuff. I'm genuinely surprised the power hasn't gone out. Like with some of the big ass trees that are around here, are all hanging over power lines. You know.
Right.
So
yeah.
I am surprised that has not happened.
You're like prepared for it, though.
Well, as prepared as I can be for a blackout. Yeah.
Emotionally prepared?
Emotionally prepared. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice. We got some rain and some thunder and lightning today, so the
Ooh.
kiddies were like, to the basement we go.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
where the thunder can't get us. It's like, true, but also upstairs is fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna blame them
No,
for not understanding the physics of thunderclaps.
no, definitely not. Not even close. So they're downstairs chilling, having a good time with each other, I hope.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Kids are back in school. They're doing great.
Oh, school's back.
It is. It's back. And my kid's in a middle kid's in the new school. And the math was more demanding in his old one.
Okay.
So he's in this like pre-trig, pre-something class. And he's been doing trigonometry for like 2 years. So he's all, yeah, today the instructor handed out some worksheets and then explained how to do the thing. And he's like, by the time he was done explaining it, I was done. And I'm like, we need to get you in a better math class.
Is he just in a standard class? Is there an advanced class he can move to?
And that's what I need to look into.
Yeah.
I bring it up, and he's kind of like, well, but maybe it's just review, and maybe it'll get harder like in a couple weeks. And I'm like,
Maybe. I mean,
maybe.
how long ago did he learn trigonometry? And they're just doing like the intro to trig.
Right. Like 2 years ago.
I feel like this school is really far behind, or the school he was at was really far ahead somehow.
The school that he was at is a charter school that is specifically focused on college prep.
Oh, okay.
So they hit them hard early, like
Okay.
7th grade stuff. Like they're doing that stuff early compared to the public school system that he's in now.
So he doesn't want to go to college anymore. Got it.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Here's the thing: if this is the case with this subject, it'll be this case with just about everything else. And so
Yeah.
there might be a more advanced you can class switch to. Like when I went to high school, I very much remember being like, "Oh, are you in like advanced maths or general maths?" You know.
Right.
And
Right.
so it could be, but if this is advanced already, ugh,
Yeah, I don't know. I should look at what the official name of the class is.
yeah.
Because I think here they call them honors classes, like
Okay. Yeah.
honors pre-calc or honors trig. But I don't know. Like math is just math. I mean, it's like they don't offer, like in my high school, they didn't offer regular calculus and honors calculus. It was just calculus. If you're taking calculus, congratulations, you're taking calculus, you know?
They didn't even break down the kind of math you could take beyond
Oh.
like I guess chemistry and physics. They both are kind of math, right? But it's either you were doing mathematics or you weren't, and whatever was in those you were doing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they didn't kind of break them out.
No.
Yeah, I think actually in high school it was AP math, which was technically a college course.
Oh, okay.
College level calculus was the only thing. If you wanted to take anything higher than like algebra 2, then you basically either had to go for AP stats or AP calculus, or you just didn't take math your final year of high school, which a bunch of people just didn't bother with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I think math was compulsory all the way through year 12. Yeah. Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
that makes sense to me.
year 12 was our senior year. Yeah.
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 Anyway, so we'll see what happens there. We'll keep an eye on it. If he's bored out of his mind in math next week, then we'll see what we can do.
Get him into a cram school.
Yeah. I don't know if those exist here. This is not Japan.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to talk about anime or Warhammer first?
Ooh, anime.
Okay, let's do some anime talk. Let's do our too many. What's the adjective? Heroines?
Losing heroines.
Losing heroines. I always forget what that word is because it feels awkward to me. The translation maybe isn't particularly good.
Right.
Yeah, too many losing heroines, which again continues to be more emotionally mature than I think this show has any right to be.
Right.
Yeah, because half of the time they're like, look at these silly female characters. Aren't they wild and zany and up to shenanigans? And then the rest of the time they're like, look at this incredibly mature perspective everybody has on this really complicated situation. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that is fair.
Yeah. Like there's this whole, we've talked about this before, but the girl has a crush on her best friend since they were, 4 years old. And then he starts dating someone in high school and she's sad about it. And she blurts out her feelings towards him for probably the first time randomly when they're all out together.
Right.
And then like flees to her grandma's house in the mountains because she can't handle what happened. And then it's just this like series of like introspection and mature feelings and looking and advice, and it's all pretty good and pretty nice. Yeah.
I don't have much more to say on it than that because it's pretty
Right.
spot on.
Yeah. And then Yanima, what is her name?
Yanima.
Yeah, blue hair girl.
Oh, blue hair girl.
Yanami. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yanami continues to be a total mess. Like, towards the end of this most recent episode, she's like, "I've been dropping serious hints that I'm dating someone, and it's gone too far. Now people want me to bring my boyfriend to this thing, and I don't have one." So for a second, you think she's going to ask, lukewarm protagonist, and he's kind of thinking she's going to say it too. And I couldn't tell if he like wanted her to. Like, part of him was like, "Sure, that'd be cool," or if the whole thing was just like, no. But again, it's pointless because then she's like, I need you to ask
one of your friends, yeah,
buddy who is in a relationship currently to pretend to be my boyfriend at this thing. That'll work perfectly. And I'm like, do you have friends that don't go to the school? Like, what is this? Is this some out of town rave you're doing? Like, who doesn't know this guy? Anyway, it's a stupid plan, and I hope it comes back and bites her.
Are you behind an episode again?
I might be.
Was that episode?
I thought
7?
I missed 1, and then I watched 2.
I don't know.
8.
There's 8. I feel like what you were describing was the end of 7, though.
Oh,
because
that was the end of 8.
8's all about like the club and the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't she ask to date one of his friends at their last one?
No, I thought it was the end of 8. Because, there's a lot of festival talk in 8, certainly. Whatever. Order of operations, I don't think matters here.
Did you watch the post-credit scene for episode 8?
Probably. Yeah. Again, I'm not good on chronology here. What happens?
He goes to the student council to submit the lit club's form, and it introduces yet another woman, another 2 women, both of whom are insane.
Right. And like the second one that he meets is like she's in charge of the student council now, and she's like, the previous student council president was too easy on you slackers. Yeah. We're gonna bust you down. And he's like, you are taking this way too seriously, lady.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I think my favorite bit in this episode 8 is when Komari, the shy girl, is like, "Oh, I thought you were with blue hair lady," and he's like. His explanation for why he's like, no, never, is like, you can. What is it? Do you like otters? Otters will eat their like 10% of their body weight every day, but it doesn't make you fall in love. Yeah, but it doesn't make you fall in love with them.
And he's like, you get it? And Kamari's like, not really. I mean, it's an apt comparison because
Yeah.
Yanami does eat 10% of her body weight per day. That is without a doubt true.
That is true. And there's a website to track it now, although it
Yeah.
doesn't have episode 8 up yet. So, which, if you look at all the episodes and the breakdown, it's really funny because episodes like 1, it's 5,342 calories that she ate. Episode 2,
lot of calories. Yeah.
5,000 calories.
Okay.
Episode 3, 4,571. Episode 4,
Mm-hmm.
1,255. Episode
Whoa.
5, 42,266. Because there's a reference in episode 5 where she's been eating nothing but ramen for 2 weeks because her dad got paid in noodles.
Yeah.
So
they're like,
it includes all of those 2 weeks worth of ramen every day.
like 3 meals a day times 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's really good. Okay. That was really funny. She just shows up with a ton of ramen and you're like, what the heck? And I'm like, your dad's job seems terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things are not going well there. You should be more concerned, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I mean, there's the great scene where protagonist is just like hanging out and oh my gosh, I'm so bad with the name. I just said her name. Shy girl.
Oh, Komari.
Komari like drags him like, you're coming with me now, and he's like, what is going on? And drags him to the lit club room, and like, they peek open the door, and like, again, super creepy student council rep who's apparently over the lit club is in there, like zombie cosplaying. She's just in the dark, and her head's like drooped, and her body's like kind of askew, and she's just going like, it's fantastic. And she like rushes the door, and they try to shut it on her, but they can't shut it all the way because she's halfway through it. And then she grabs Komari and yanks her in.
I mean, that would have been a plot twist nobody saw coming. 3/4 of the way through the show, it's now a zombie movie.
Oh, yeah. They're like, we're explaining this student's odd behavior. You thought she was just a weirdo like the rest of the female students. Nope. She's a zombie. And now there's a zombie outbreak in the school. I would be on board with that. That would be fun.
I just don't know if M. Night Shyamalan's interested in doing anime.
Not kidding. Yeah, that's fantastic. And then, yeah. And the whole thing where they're trying to set up the school festival, and Yomari is like, she has all these ideas of like cooking all this food and giving it out, and everyone's like,
it's an excuse to eat.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, we're just going to cook a ton of food, and we're going to be really popular because everybody likes to eat. Like that's her contribution to this whole thing.
Right. I just come up with ideas. It's your idea. It's your job to make them happen. You know.
Yeah.
That's what she says to lukewarm water.
Right. And he's, I don't know, he's got a tiny bit of a backbone. He's willing to stand up for himself sometimes, but sometimes he just like rolls with it. And I'm like, come on, man. You're better than this.
True.
He's probably not, actually. So then they're in the home ec room, and they're, cooking some stuff, and Komari cooks these cookies, and like Yamani totally takes credit for them when Lemon comes in and is like, oh, cookies.
When Lemon comes in through the window. Like, let's
Right.
not leave out that. Just in case anyone was worried that these women were getting a little normal. No. She comes in through the window.
Yeah. And acting like it's the most natural thing in the world.
Right.
Yeah. And so Yamani tries to take credit for it, and Komari and lukewarm guy stands up for Komari, and he's like, actually, Komari cooked this. And she says something about like, there's all these rugrats at home, and like I'm always having to cook stuff for them.
Right. I think she has.
Like, we haven't really seen her home life at all.
So it probably, like, we haven't seen many people at home. Just lukewarm water.
Yeah.
And his little sister, whose name I want to pronounce as Kaiju, but it's not. It's Kaiju, I think.
I mean, Kaiju maybe applies. She's a menace. She is, though.
I mean, sort of. I mean...
Dude, she takes her brother's phone and texts responses to girls for him. Like, that's not okay. That is out of bounds.
That is his fault for not putting a thumbprint lock on that.
Maybe true. But she's on, like, she gets on his lap. Like, maybe he was using it and it hadn't timed out yet. Whatever. Doesn't matter. She's crazy. What was the point though? Yeah, I wasn't seeing anybody's home life. There is a scene with Komari like at a desk and she
Oh yeah,
drops
she drops
something.
some books, and that's about it. Like
Yeah.
I think she's like studying or just reading in her room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's that. I think that's the closest we've seen whether or not she. Excuse me, Christ. Long days. Yeah, I don't think we've seen whether or not she has a bunch of like little siblings that she's looking after.
I mean, she says it, and I don't know. She could be a huge liar. That's entirely possible in this show.
There's no reason to disbelieve her.
No,
So,
not really.
but it's show don't tell, isn't it? Isn't that the idea?
Yeah, it is the idea.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like I'm just wondering if like her stutter and her shyness and her there's this whole other thing where she's like she's anxious about being in like a large group of students moving through the school, like between classes. And Protag like reads it and is like totally cool about helping her with it. Like it's
Right.
like, okay, you're a pretty nice dude. But I'm wondering if there's like some home trauma. Like maybe it's an abusive home and that like is contributing to what's going on.
It's maybe a
with
bit
her.
heavy for the show.
Probably so.
Like as mature as the show is, I don't think it's like how do we frame rape in this, you know, or just beating even. Like
Yeah.
I'm just using like an example for that's obviously dark, and
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that specifically, but like I don't think the show would handle that. I think more like what they're going to go with is I don't think I'll go with anything, but if I had to guess, it's more like she's so used to being like the adult in the room with her younger siblings, she doesn't really get how other people can just vibe in a group together. Like if she's in a group, she's in charge, but
Yeah.
when she's at school, the people there are all her age, and she doesn't know how to be in charge of those people. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to explore it at all. They've definitely put more time into it, though.
Oh, well,
Like, they are kind of poking at this, like, what's Kumari's deal a little bit.
true.
Not that they're poking in anybody else's deals. Like, Yamani is just her. I don't think there's any backstory there.
No.
Yeah.
We got most of her deal in episode 1 with her childhood sweetheart and Karen Chan,
Yeah.
her dear friend, who
Yes.
yeah.
She has a great moment, too, where she meets up with Protag, and she's like, I have a question for you. Is a surveillance device that's run out of power still technology, or is it just junk? In response to the question of has she bugged Lemon, that's what she says. Like,
wasn't that that wasn't Karen Chan. That was so Lemon was after that guy. It was that guy's
Yeah.
girlfriend.
yeah.
Karen's moment this episode was when Yanami freaks out because she started getting undressed in the nurse's office with her boyfriend in the room, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, this is pretty normal for me now. Like I'm just used to it." And so she's freaking out about like how quickly their relationship is moving.
Right. That was funny.
Yeah.
And then when the lit club comes to the short teacher, what's her job?
The homeroom teacher. Yep.
Is she just a homeroom teacher?
I have absolutely no freaking idea. I
Because
know.
like they come to her to be the faculty advisor for the lit club because they haven't had one for months apparently.
Apparently, yep.
And she thinks they're coming to her for like sex advice or something.
Well, every time she looks at lukewarm water, he's just like, you can get that sorted. Like, oh my god, what's wrong with you? Or like, you can get that fixed at the nurse's office. Like, there's something visibly wrong with his face.
Yeah.
Like he's injured. It's very rude.
It's so weird. So I don't know. That's fun. And then she's like, no, I'm already the faculty advisor for the ping pong club, but let me recommend someone. And then it's crazy nurse lady who's been spying on the students and keeping track of what's going on with them. So that's going to be great.
Oh yeah,
She's going to be fantastic at her job.
she's the teacher everyone wants to have more around.
Yeah. Creepy.
Creepy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that's been going on.
I think that's about it. It's still good, still funny, still weird.
Definitely weird.
Yep.
All right, good.
Good. Good.
What other anime is going on? Tower of God continues.
Yeah.
They decided for this last episode to take a character who's just kind of he's part of the new climbing the tower party, and he hasn't really had any backstory.
Okay.
And they're like, this episode is his backstory. Go. And it's like, but we don't. Like, he's a nice guy. We don't need to do this. Like, we just like Bam. We want to find out what happens with other characters we know more about.
Isn't that the point of the show though, is to have 400 characters and to introduce them all slowly one at a time?
It is. And again, introducing is fun. He's been there. He's been part of the team. He's been contributing. He's making friendships. He's great. And then all of a sudden the show's like, you need his traumatic backstory and how it relates to what we're doing now. And it's like, oh, we don't need this. We really don't. This story is long enough as it is.
I've seen people on Reddit are pretty unhappy with it. They think it's not good. Is basically the general gist that I can get. Season 2.
People that liked season 1 are just out on season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could honestly see it from their perspective. Like, they spent all this time developing these characters and these relationships from season 1. And then they separate Bam from everybody he knew in season 1. Like, he's out on his own. He's got a new crew, and we're supposed to, like, replace the original guys with these guys. And the original crew is kind of doing their own thing on a different floor, and they don't even know that Bam's alive. And it's like, it's a really weird thing to do in season 2 to your story.
Yeah, especially
So I get it.
Is much of the story feeling like pacing up or building up to like the crews connecting, or even the original crew finding out that Bam's still alive? Is it like playing hard on like how much they miss him? Just like there's a build up there that you can do, because you don't want to be like, okay, episode 24 of season 1, Bam gets pushed off his thing. Episode 1 in season 2, Bam reunites. That would be terrible. That would be worse than what this is.
Sure. Okay, right. So it's a scale, right? Too soon sucks. But I'm pretty sure that Bam and Kun don't reunite until like episode 400. Like, it's a long fucking time.
Right.
And it's probably too long.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I keep watching and being like, oh, look, it's Kun and it's Bam and they're separated. Oh, no. And they'll probably find each other. And it's like, and then I'm remembering, I'm like, oh, no, in the webcomic, it takes a really long time. Yeah. So, no.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll shorten it, though, for the adaptation. I mean, that's kind of one of the things you can do when you're adapting something.
Right. They definitely need to look at, like, tightening it up a little, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I need to go back and look, because I take huge breaks in my reading binges in Tower of God, so it like puts my sense of how long things take out of whack. But I'm pretty sure, and it's like this chance meeting too. It's like Kun's in a place and Bam's in a place, and they each have their crews, and it's just like accidentally in the same location. It's like, holy shit, it's Bam, and he's like, holy shit, it's Kun. But it's so long down the road. So yeah, it'd be nice if the adaptation of the anime here shortens it up a bit. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, makes it a little more focused, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, there are just so many characters that are introduced, and they do develop a bunch of them, and it's nice. They stick around. It's good to have characters bouncing off each other. But they introduce so many characters that you never see again. And it's just like, we didn't need to spend any time with this. This has no bearing on the story. You just came up with a really cool character design, and you wanted to show it off. And here they are, and now they're gone. And it's just, okay, we're doing this again, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see. Fingers
All
crossed.
right. We will, yeah. All right. So Warhammer time.
Yeah, Warhammer. Let's talk Warhammer. What did we read?
It is the friendly adventures of 4 Primarchs in the Ruinstorm trying to get back to Terra.
Yeah, Ruinstorm by David Annandale, who I don't think
Yeah.
has written much of the Horus Heresy like before this. I don't think we've read a book by him.
I was going to say, I don't recognize the name at all.
No, like he's done a bunch of books from what I'm seeing. Like he's not. This wasn't his first time. Mostly a lot of short stories and novellas, but like a lot of 40k stuff. So like
Okay.
Yarick, and a lot of Imperial Guard things by the looks of it.
Sure. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got 40K experience, just not Horus Heresy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so again, it's just another story where it's like we need to get these characters to where they are
right.
at the end of the Horus Heresy. How do we do that, and how do we make it a whole book? Yeah. Yeah.
This book moved through me. Like I did. There are so many times where I'm like, okay, there's a fight going on. Which fight was this? Who was in that? And then the fight will still go for like what felt like an hour later. And it's a short audiobook. It's only 10 hours. And I listened at like 1.4 speed, so it was only 6 hours. You know?
Yeah.
And if it felt like a fight was going for an hour, that's a big portion of the book.
Yes, it's a ton of fighting. And as we've established previously, there's a hierarchy in Warhammer. There were so many times it's like there's a Primarch fighting lesser demons. Who will possibly win? What? The Primarch did? No way. And a couple times they're like higher level demons. And it's like, all right, fine. This feels like a challenge. This is nice.
They've got to like flex a little. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of fights where it's like, okay, these guys cannot possibly kill a Primarch, but let's spend 30 minutes on this anyway, I guess. Which again, it's just a problem that Warhammer has in general. And they try to be like, well, if you have enough lesser things, you can take down something higher on the food chart, but it never happens.
Right. I think it's probably a victim of all of the Horus Heresy books being written on the Imperium side, right? Because where's the book that's like, hey, we're chaos, let's write a book from our perspective? Because like ostensibly there are chaos players, and there are chaos like Trader Marine players, and then there are just loyalist players, right?
Yeah.
There are no books that are like, okay, let's set up a great character for Chaos's side and have them kill a bunch of really cool loyal people and, you know, really set them up as bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had any of those in these books. All we get are like melodramatic demons who want to like whisper to Sanguinius about fate, you know?
Right.
I mean, I like Samus as much as the next person, but, you know.
Samus is fun. Agreed. But there's not a lot of character there.
No, and so we've ended up with a lot of fights where even if it's like the bigger, greater demons and stuff, it's just like, okay, but I know that this demon isn't a character. You know, he's just popped up at the end of this book to be like, I'm going to hold your ships here. Ha ha ha. You'll never make it to Terra.
Right. It's like, okay, but there's 3 Primarchs you're fighting, so good luck with that, dude.
Right.
They're named Primarchs with many, many books about them.
Exactly.
The plot armor is really strong here. Yeah. God, it's ridiculous. It's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to write around as an author. Like, if you dumped me into that situation, I'd be like,
Right.
But like you said, you fix that by having named demons who do cool stuff and have character and have books written about them. And then when you meet the Primarchs, it's like, all right, this guy is serious business. We believe in this. Yeah. I mean, I did appreciate the aspect of like Sanguinius getting tricked by these, like this whole thing.
Yeah, I did enjoy listening to Sanguinius try to work out whether or not he was talking to the Emperor or a vision of the Emperor, or and whether or not striking him down was what he should do. But what if it is the Emperor? And like, there's a big whole. It's not exactly who done it, but like he's very confused, and he's like, "Forgive me, Father, I know not what I do." That was good. Like I didn't hate that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that is an example of him not being tricked, though, right?
Well, that's him working it out at the end, yes.
Yeah.
But you need to go through all the trickery to get there.
Yes. Yeah, you totally do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this whole thing of Sanguinius has seen his future, blah, blah, blah. He fights Horus. Horus kills him. That's what he's been convinced is going to happen for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
So as they're trying to get through the Ruinstorm, there are these blockades that have been set up. And like this concept of a wall in space that is really, 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 really big.
Uh-huh.
It's dumb.
So, I did go and Google some other people's opinions on this, and
Okay.
apparently this is from a Reddit user called We Can Have All Three. Annandale is at his best writing wacky cosmic weirdness, and this book simply oozes it. It's quintessential 40k. Flying off into space to punch a literal psychic storm in the face, getting tutored at by a solar system-sized fortress, cutting holes in reality to fall through, and learning how to love thy brother along the way. So I feel like Annandale here does weird shit, and putting giant walls in space is probably not the craziest thing he's ever done, if that's what people want out of him, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure. If you just want to put it in the wild, zany Warhammer box, you can do that. It totally fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
So anyway, so one of those, okay, so to get through the giant wall, we can't just bust through it because it's a giant wall that is like light years in size. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
So one of these, they're like, well, there's got to be something at the bottom. It's got to be connected to something. And I'm like, I don't know that space magic needs that, but okay. So they fly down for hours and hours. And they're like, there's a planet down there. What the hell? It's a forge planet, and it's creating this giant wall, which is 8 billion times bigger than it is. Probably.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, in one of these, like, we got to destroy the forge. The forge is creating the wall. If we destroy the forge, we win. So they go in there and they kill all these demons. And then Sanguinius gets dropped into some psychic dimension where he's being killed by Horus over and over and over.
Right.
But then he gets presented a future where he beats Horus. And it's only once out of like hundreds of times that he's losing to Horus, but he like clings onto it. And then it becomes more and more often as he's cycling through this event that he wins. And he's like, I can't, I'm not fated to die at Horus's hand. There is a future where I can win. And he like gloms onto that thing so hard. Because, let's be honest, getting killed by your brother like isn't a great way to go. He's probably not super into that.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. So he gloms onto it, and then that destroys the forge, and the wall comes down, and it's like, we figured out how to get past the walls. Here's what we do. So anyway, it's just this whole thing with Sanguinius getting slow-rolled, tricked into walking into a portal on Tavin. Because all of the experiences he had leading up to this one during this book where like he figured something out and he went on faith and it worked for him. So by the time he's presented with this portal on Davin, he's like, faith's got me this far. I believe. Let's go in the portal. And the lion and Gilliman are like, that seems like a really stupid idea. We don't think you should do that.
Right.
Then he goes in there and he doesn't come out, and they're like, yep, shit. Like we lost one. We lost a Primarch and a portal on Davin. Oh no. Right. So I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed that whole thing where Sanguinius totally gets set up by this plan to like put him in the correct state of mind where he'll go into this portal and get trapped. And he just gleefully bounds on in there because the Primarchs are dumb sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh man, that was great.
Yeah, so again, I've looked to other people who enjoyed this book more to really get an opinion of it. And like one thing that I note is that like each of the Primarchs really kind of gets their own like little character arc. Sanguinius being the primary one, mainly because they've got to get him away from everyone else by the end of it.
Yeah.
He's the one that keeps going. And so Guilliman's is the testing of his theoretical practical, and it's like, okay, let's give him some anathema dagger shards and see if he can resist the temptation of his
Right.
logical mind to keep this clearly tainted object, and
Yeah, but the counter is, in this book anyway, you need tainted objects to hurt demons. That's not always true, but here it is. So it's not just like, I'll use these clearly cursed artifacts in doing the war. He's like, no, it actually, these things will kill warp beasts, and that's really fucking useful in the current situation.
right. So
Right.
what's the theoretical there, and what's
The
the practical?
theoretical is you can use these weapons to help win the war.
So you should fall to chaos to stop chaos.
Right.
That's his entire thing. He's having a breakdown. Like, he knows if he doesn't
Right.
destroy these weapons now, then he never will, because he just wants to study them and find out if there is a way to apply them safely. And the road to damnation always paved with good intentions, that kind of thing. So that's Gulliman's little mini arc here. Someone else here is. You have more to say?
Well, it would have more emphasis on it if he wasn't able to successfully stab demons later without using them.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Well, here's the thing. It's a level of practicality that these things have. He's always been able to stab demons. He knew that. He fought demons at Kauth. He already knew that, but he knows that the enemy's weapons are even more effective than just whatever he can muster,
Whatever magic Primarch weapon he's using right now. Yeah.
I don't think he's using a magic Primarch weapon. I think it's just a weapon that's magic because he's a Primarch.
Right. So that's the thing. The whole conceit falls apart if his weapons he's using because he's a Primarch can kill demons anyway. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, he wants to study them. Maybe he can give them to other people who aren't Primarchs.
Okay. Right. We talked about that last week, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah. Which I'm honestly in support of. Let's do it.
Right. You want everyone to have at least one guy in the squad to have a magic weapon.
Yeah. It's like having psychers around. It's really useful.
Yeah. I feel like we need more books where psychers are just going insane and summoning demons.
I agree.
The legions kind of always get a pass on that because it's well, the Astartes have minds of iron and their will is so strong that they can reject demons by focused thought alone. And so the legion psychers are never well, unless you're kind of a Thousand Sun who are we're digging way too deep and greedily with our knowledge, but everyone else is just no, we know our limits. We're not going to accidentally let demons in because we're good. We're the protagonist in this book.
Right, like Sahariel. He's the perfect example of that. Yeah.
Wow.
And then he makes friends with a demon.
Right. He finds a demon that already exists and doesn't think it's a bad idea to be its best friend. That's a very different thing from should I open my mind to the warp? Should I open my mind to the warp, or should I be friends with this thing living in the planet? Those are two very different things.
It is a different thing. It is not a very different thing. Consorting with demons of the warp is kind of in the same box.
Maybe. Xenos are okay as long as they're on a planetary scale. Which actually,
I guess.
just a side note, one of the books I read last week or the week before has a reference to a Xenos that they discovered during the Great Crusade, and the Emperor was like, yeah, fine, don't kill them. They all die anyway, but...
Of course they do.
So it turns out you can grind up these aliens and turn them into rejuvenate treatment.
Oh.
That's really effective. Most Juvenet stops aging. This stuff will actually reverse it temporarily, and so they were hunted to extinction by people wanting to look younger.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. But
Good grief.
it sets precedent that the Imperium was not always 100% xenophobic. They would let some Xenos live.
Ah, some Xenos live. Wonderful.
Isn't that much more moderate and tolerant? God.
I mean, it's a little more moderate. Sure. Tiny bit.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so Gilliman, he has a whole thing with the daggers.
Mm-hmm.
The lion has a thing with his judgment.
Yeah, it's someone here put it as like it's him dealing with the fact that he thinks he's the only person who can make the hard decisions, and that
Yeah.
everyone else is a fool, they're blind, they're gonna destroy us all, and that other people might have other decisions, and that doesn't make them traitors. Lion, like he kind of needs to, I don't know, get on board with that idea that not only, like he can make good decisions, and other people can make other decisions that are also still loyal. You know. Like he
Yeah.
firmly thinks that the Imperium Secundus was like a mistake from basically the beginning. But was it? We don't know. Gulliman and Sanguinius think it was, but only because they erred in assuming the Emperor was dead.
Right. They both still feel really bad about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of what the Lion's got going on. Which also the books never like the Gulliman and Sanguinius still don't know about Chichoka and like this Xenos AI thing that he's using to like warp jump. He's just
Right.
like,
Even though they are highly suspicious that something like that's going on,
yeah, like they've
they
no
never
idea
really
what's
push.
yeah. Oh, and Gilliman
Yeah.
also uses like word bearers astropaths, and they're like, yeah, we'll totally get you where you need to go, and he's like, that's sus, and then they do,
Yeah.
and they die in the process, and he's like, huh, I guess that's good then. Like he
They
can
die
use,
happy. It's fine.
they die happy. He gets to go where he wanted to go. Using the enemy's weapons is great. Let's all get corrupted. Yeah, so boy, I hope something comes of Chichoka somewhere, you know, soon. I feel like,
Yeah, because it really seems like if it's really just some, I mean, galaxy traversing system that's better than astropaths, and
yeah,
that's all it ever is, and like it never goes anywhere, that's a weird choice. I mean, they do make a point of saying that the host that it's using is deteriorating.
yeah. So if you remember back to the novella that I founded, it's got like a young child, and they're like, "Yeah, we've burnt through 5 or 6 of these already." You
Yeah.
know?
So, I mean, it's the 40K universe. Like, I'm sure they've got more young children available to
Oh,
dump onto this thing.
yeah, yeah. I think when they're at the Forge World, they say, "Oh, we've been using vat-grown kids." Like we've been just cloning people for this, right?
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
that the lion has that sentimentality or practicality. He's just like, I need a kid. I don't have any cloning facilities on my ship.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Yeah, that'll be interesting where that goes.
Boy, I hope that's not something that just goes nowhere for the next several books.
Yeah, me too. And then Sanguinius has this other thing where it's like, if he dies, then his legion goes nuts. Like, gives into the bloodthirst, becomes a scourge upon the entire galaxy. Just gets so fixated on revenge against Horus that they see Horus in everything they come across and just try to murder it.
Yeah, again, this is something everyone who's read Blood Angels in 40K know, that they're afflicted with 2 curses. One is the Red Thirst, which is what the first curse that like he often talks about, which is just their hunger to eat people. Right, that's like a thing that they do to drink blood.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
The second one is the Black Rage, and that's what this is, and kind of what was being set up in the first book we read with them. Where and it's a thing that happens when he dies, and all they all get cursed with the Black Rage. So it's just setting up something that everyone should know is coming. You do now,
Yeah, I generally have the idea of what happens here. So yeah.
right? Yeah, if his sons all get angry and they think their enemy looks like Horus, and they all think they're Sanguinius on the Vengeful Spirit trying to fight him. It's always interesting seeing that pop up in a book where this Blood Angel just starts screaming Horus at like
Yeah.
random guy number 5, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, that's not very productive, guys.
yeah. I think it's again, that's like the meat of the book, which has moved through me. So it's like I don't really have a lot of opinion on that. I enjoyed Sanguinius talking to Conrad at the end of the book, being like, "Father could do something worse to you if you come with us, because we both know he won't kill you." And
Ooh,
Conrad,
yeah.
who is constantly having visions of the future, including his own death, has absolutely no idea what Sanguinius could be talking about. And he goes, "Father could forgive you." That scares Conrad.
He's never considered it. He's just never even considered the possibility, and it horrifies him.
Yeah.
And then Sanguinius is like, "Yeah, but I'm not taking you to death. That's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is put you in stasis and shoot you out into the void.
Yeah.
Have a good one."
Have a good one. He's like, "You've seen when you die. That could be in 6,000 years' time. You don't know." And
The Emperor's assassin will come for you, but there's no time frame on that, friend.
right.
Yeah.
I would love to know more about the kind of like stasis coffin that he's in, and it's like obviously he's gonna get found, and like the rest of the events that he's in will play out. But like you could also have buried him somewhere and let nobody know. So I feel like Sanguinius isn't gonna be like, "I'm gonna put you in a stasis field and then put a homing beacon so your people can find you." I don't feel like he's sending him back to his legion. He's like pushing him out into the void in hopes that nobody ever finds him ever again.
Yeah.
But we know someone does, and so it feels like he doesn't take enough steps, or he must have taken steps to mitigate that. I don't
But
know.
I don't think he's taking steps. I think it's almost like just putting it up to random chance. Like, I'm going to dump you out in open space, and if you get found, so be it. Whatever. Like, I wash my hands of you.
Yeah, maybe, but
I don't
like,
think he. I don't think he does it with the expectation that he doesn't get found for thousands of years. He's like, yeah, that's possible.
but it feels too convenient that I know he gets picked up in the next year. You know. So
Yes.
there has to be like a beacon or something. Like someone has to be able to find it, you know. And it's like, does the Imperium care about like a coffin the size of a Primarch, just like as driftwood in space?
Right. Right.
Apparently, like, who's the poor sucker that finds him? You know, like, is it salvages? Give us that story, maybe.
Oh man. Can you imagine being just out like looking for space junk to sell, and you open a box and an extremely murderous, angry, insane Primarch comes out of it and kills you all?
That,
Bad day. Bad day at the office.
that is, yep.
Oh, be sad.
Uh,
That's 40K for you, though. Sometimes you salvage insane Primarchs. It happens. Here's my thing. Why didn't they kill Conrad?
Why didn't they?
Yeah. Like, I get last time we see him, they're like, no, he can't, like, what he's prophesying, what we've seen means the Emperor's alive. Holy smokes.
Right.
Great. We got that information. Now Conrad can die. Like, why are we tooling around with this dude?
They believe his prophecy is that the Emperor will send someone to kill him. All right. And so
Yeah.
the Emperor must be alive for that to happen. They're worried if they kill him, the Emperor will no longer need to be alive to send someone to kill him.
Prophecy is stupid. It's so dumb. It really is. Like, this book is nothing but stupid prophecy.
There's a lot of it, and like I don't hate Sanguinius finding that like what he's been prophesizing can be changed maybe a little bit.
Well,
And
that's what the demon showed him.
yeah, that's true.
So cool. The known liar showed me an option.
Well, demons, they can be right. you know.
They can. I'm just saying, if I'm Sanguinius and I figure out everything that's happened to me over the last 3 weeks has been trickery by demons, I'm like, all right, fuck. Like, that hope that I had is dashed now because demons are liars.
Maybe, but like, I don't know. You got to compare that to just Conrad, who's constantly seeing visions of the future that are always the worst thing to happen to anyone, mainly because he's in them and doing the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone to them. But
True.
like, Sanguinius reflects is like, is this what it's like to be you, Conrad? Is this what your vision's like? Always seeing the worst? Like, always seeing your own death constantly? And I don't know, I feel like Conrad has a moment where he thinks maybe his foresight is not 100% permanent. Like, he doesn't know what Sanguinius is going to do. He knows
Yeah.
Sanguinius might free him earlier, but he can't see why. And I feel like if Conrad's is less certain, then so is Sanguinius's. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just how I feel. I don't know that this book gave me that feeling, or if it's, general thoughts on foretelling. But I don't think this book does anything to harm it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are definitely major story points where Conrad is absolutely stunned at the fact that his certainty about what the future is has been shattered somehow or shaken somehow.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What else? I mean, it's kind of a fun thing to mess around with because you're writing the Horus Heresy knowing what the end game is.
Right.
So it's meta commentary, right? It's like, we know what happens to these people. So let's sprinkle in some prophecy where they kind of also know what's going to happen to them too.
Right. And we'll see what's
Yeah.
different because, like, a lot of what we know about the Horus Heresy before this has been deliberately told as, like, the myths in 40k. Like, this is equivalent to our, like, stories of Hercules. It's like, it might have been a
Right.
real person. He might have done some impressive things, or he might have been a demigod,
Right.
And that's
Right.
what the
Right.
Primarchs are to people in 40k.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. All right, that's Ruinstorm done, I think. Unless you have
Yeah,
any
I
more
think
to
so
say
too.
on it. Yep. Are
Yep.
we just continuing on down the
Well, I
line?
guess, yeah, let's do. I guess the important thing is at the end of this book, Sanguinius is going to
Right. Yep.
intentionally slow down Horus's forces as they approach Terra.
Um.
No? Is that not
No,
what we
no, no,
get?
no, no, no. What we get is Guilliman, the Lion, and Sanguinius having a talk about what they should do to try and get to Terra.
Yeah.
And the Lion's like, hey, I think if I go on a rampage killing specifically Trader Primarch's home worlds, that'll pull forces back because they'll kind of like their home worlds. And Guilliman's like, I can distract the fleets that are blocking us from getting to Terra, and Sanguinius can make a run for Terra. That's
Oh, so they want Sanguinius to go on ahead.
right, because that's the point. The prophecy is that Sanguinius will be at Terra when Horus kills him.
He's always on Horus's ship. He's not on Terra.
Where do you think Horus's ship is?
Well, I'm just saying, it's never like, and out the window he could see Terra. He's always just on Horus's ship.
Right, but it's he's on Horus's ship, and then he dies, and then the Emperor kills Horus. That's the turn of events.
Yeah.
So if the Emperor is there, Horus's ship must either be at Terra, or the Emperor leaves Terra to go to kill Horus.
Sure, but I mean, you can just take another week to get to Terra and then do it. Whatever, it's fine. The sequence of events are very fast. I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
'Kay.
So he's going to make a run for Terra, him and his legion. Guilliman is going to try and delay them, like the blockade. He's going to distract the blockade or whatever. So Sanguinius can slip through while the Lion is doing like rearguard action against the
Right.
Trader homeworlds. Yeah.
Right.
And that's
Okay,
Ruinstorm.
so that's where we are.
Yeah.
Got it. So what's the next one in the story then from there?
Wolfsbane.
Hey, we know what this one's about.
Sure do. If I had to guess.
Wolfsbane, Horus Heresy, book number 49.
Oh, hi, Aki.
Aki's here.
Yeah. So
Oh, hi.
this book came out 6 years ago. That's how recent it is. We're finally up to books that are recent,
Yeah.
as opposed to 20 years ago.
Yeah. Wasn't this last one 2016 or something though?
Yeah, it's true. That's
Something like that.
still pretty recent, but like we can still go back to books that were a while ago.
True.
We've got which ones are we? Deliverance Lost we skipped. That was 2011. Oh, this book actually mentions like Ruinstorm mentioned a book called The Damnation of Pythos,
Yeah, I was lost. I was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
Must have skipped that book.
I do not know exactly. I didn't even realize it was in the chain because on the flowchart, it doesn't connect to anything else but the book before it, and it's a white on white book. Like it's so
Yeah, it's hard to see.
it's hard to see in there. As far as I'm aware, it's just the the Iron Hands doing some stuff. Like they don't have a Primarch, so they don't have a superhero to follow.
Right. They're just trying to hurt the Traitor Marines.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, there's a lot of that going on
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
book too.
yep.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I mean, okay, just one last thing about Ruinstorm. There's this whole giant ship that has been eating other ships and like getting bigger and like converting ships that it defeats into being chaos vessels.
Right.
And it's massive. And it's been this herald that's been flying around, like just bringing destruction to everything. And so they fight it and they can't kill it. So then they're like, well, if we kill Davin, then the ship will die. And then they do, and it does. It's very convenient. It's very nice. It's very Phantom Menace of them.
Yes.
Yes, that's all.
Yeah, I don't have any. Again, that book ran right through me. I see. Okay, I have fallen asleep during some of these books when I have to like rush to finish them.
Mhm.
I did not fall asleep through this one. Entirely missed that. I don't
Oh.
like. I'm sure I heard it.
Like you're familiar with the giant
Yep,
ship,
yep.
though.
I'm familiar with the ship.
Okay.
I'm
You
familiar
just
with
missed
it.
how
I'm.
it died.
I know how it bit the red tier like in half, and
Yeah.
like it did all that stuff, and I'm sure it died. It just slipped me. I'm like, okay, it died. Cool. Like
Fair enough.
again, Chaos doesn't get to have anything cool. They get a giant ship that can eat other ships, and
Yep.
it just dies because Davin gets destroyed.
Because its mommy planet died. I don't
Right.
know, man.
The Death Star blows up because they were able to take down the shield bunker on Davin. I mean,
Yeah.
Yavin. Yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
All right.
Wolfsbane.
Wolfsbane. Got it.
Wolfsbane.
Done.
I'm really worried about this book, just
Yeah.
because it's another book that's like just there to move Lehman Russ away from Terra. You know,
Got it.
because like
Got it. Got it.
we know he's not on Terra. You know. So like I don't think it'll be bad. Guy Haley's a good author. I like him.
Fair. There it is. Wolfsbane. We got it.
Wolfsbane.
All right. Good. Sounds awesome.
Sounds good.
Good. All right. Well, that will be it from us today then. This has been Falcon Paladin and Somicron coming at you with yet another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live here on twitch.tv/Somicron. I don't know, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whenever we happen to get around to it. The VODs are available there. And on youtube.com/@Somicron, which is maybe where you're watching. That's where those show up. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/Somicron or by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. So check it out. Thanks for being here. And until next time, we're going to have more anime and more Warhammer. But have a good week and you take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.